over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with a few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us.
The drive-in theater
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up, everybody? You are tuned in, hopefully, or dialed in, or downloaded, or whatever it is that you're doing to listen to our show, The Drive-In Speaker Box. I'm Bo, your host, the boom operator.
I'm Slick Doggy, the grip.
And we're here. It's back. It's another Monday night. It's 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. If you guys don't know what's up, if you're not listening live, you can tune in over on our Facebook, our Twitch, or our YouTube streams. We do this every Monday night, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, as you see on the bottom of your screen, or coming out of my mouth if you're listening to the podcast. And you can join in the chat. So we already got some people in the chat. We got Vince over on Twitch, McLean over on YouTube, along with Tyler over on YouTube. And something new this week I was thinking about setting up. I'm going to throw this in the chat right here. This is a link to a Discord server that I just set up. I was talking to some streamer friends, and they're like, you guys don't have a Discord? Nerds! What are you, granddads? Get a Discord, you know? And so I set this up. It's there's nobody in it yet, but, you know, whatever. So throughout the week, if there's something interesting that you guys see, or, you know, you want to say, hey, check out this movie, or check out this link, or check out this whatever, throw it over in our Discord. And all of you guys that chat with each other in the stream chat live can now do this all the time. What? Science, technology, the future is now.
Chat rooms are the future, apparently.
You know,
is that the point that we are now, where everyone's like, dude, chat rooms?
Have you ever seen
it's
a chat
the
room?
next thing.
Like, it's weird when you think about, like, Zillennials, right? Or which is the next, I guess, the next millennials, and how everything has become like this weird sort of cycle back, where, you know, we started with IRC chat, like web chat rooms, and
I've been trying to explain IRC to like 2 or 3 people in the last couple of weeks, and everyone's like, what is IRC? I've never heard of it.
Internet relay chat.
Where were you?
And then
the
you
internet?
had instant messaging, like, you know, ICQ and AIM, where it's like, uh-oh, and, you know, you got mail and all that fun stuff. And now, you know, we move to other stuff, and then video conferencing, and then Zoom calls, and then everything got so this, and nobody wants to answer the phone anymore, so it was all text, and now people are like, oh, well, now we need different stuff, and now we're doing audio recordings and going back to phone calls and back to chat room. It's just weird. It's weird, and it never really left the 90s. We're going back to chat rooms. So, yeah, as McLean says on YouTube, that thing You've Got Mail was about, right? Yes, emails. So, yeah, the Discord, it's there. Yada, yada, yada. This week, not a lot of exciting things in the theater this week. I did not, unfortunately, get a chance to see Where the Crawdads Sing. I assume it's
that's what was out
in a freshwater creek somewhere. Or maybe like a little freshwater creek, like nightclub, where all the crawdads get together and just like doing karaoke. I mean, that sounds like that's going to be the next like DreamWorks movie, where it's, you know, CGI animals doing people things, but it's just crawdads. Hey, thanks for the sub, Knox. Yeah, so didn't see any new movies in theaters, but I did see The Sea Beast on Netflix, so going to be talking about that later in the show.
And I watched the first couple episodes of the new season of What We Do in the Shadows, which is based on a movie.
And we're going to be talking about that later in the show. Oh yeah, Knox, 11 months.
Hey, yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for spreading the love of the Drive-In Speaker Box. That's what we're doing. All right, so news. It's that time of the show. The way we do this show, if you guys are new and joining us, is we talk about what's happened in the past 7 days or 6 days since we've seen you, and then what's coming out in theaters this week, and then we talk about a new movie that we saw this past weekend, and then we wrap it up with the box office roundup. So let's talk about what happened this week. Velvet Santa says, can't wait for Sandman on Netflix. Neither can I. I've made it through most of the Audible audiobook. I'm still on the second part. It's pretty good. Neil Gaiman, of course, based off of the graphic novels of the same name. I think it's going to be pretty solid. And I'm looking forward to Sandman as well. Got some news?
Yeah.
Got some news on us?
Talking Netflix, let's keep going with that. It was announced today that the Munsters movie, following its god-awful trailer that was released earlier this week.
That trailer, dude.
Or last week. It will be a Netflix release. And Rob Zombie was very happy to announce that both Munsters and Addams Family will be together on air at the same time again via Netflix.
That trailer, y'all.
The trailer was released
Can
on
we
the
talk
13th.
Can we talk about that trailer? The Munsters trailer? It seems like Paramount or whoever owns the rights, they've been like camping Munsters, like, oh yeah, we're gonna Munsters you, and they did the Munsters pinball a few years ago, and it's just like, oh, the Munsters, like they've got this ace in their sleeve, because Addams Family's been getting popular again because they're cool and has been handled well throughout the years. And they have shopped so many different directors for this Munsters film, finally landing on Rob Zombie. And this trailer is awful.
Oh man, it's just the flattest.
It looks like a high school short film.
It does. It feels like it, and some of the dialogue and acting feel like it's the same caliber. And
the people that come to its defense, that are like quick to defend it, are probably weird Munsters simps that just sit around and like you met what's his little Munster, Eddie.
Yeah, I met Eddie and Marilyn. Yeah.
He comes to Arkansas quite a bit. I met a guy that's like friends with him, and
don't waste your time. He was awful.
He was kind of a jerk.
Yeah,
but
Butch Patrick, not a nice man, turns out. I paid a lot of money. I paid too much money to meet the Munsters, the surviving Munsters, and they were incredibly rude. It was something. We went to a pinball fest, and I was one of like 25, 35 people. It was very limited that got pre-access. It was just them and a couple of, like 2 or 3 dozen people that came by. You got a lithograph. The pinball guy signed it, and then the Munsters, and you had the Munsters sign it. And they didn't want anything to do with it. They didn't want to be there.
Schmuck.
Yeah, I was like, this is the one time that you can be like, hey, cool that you're a fan, whatever, And I'm like, can you make it out to me? This is not for me to sell. This is for me to have and keep, because
that's
I
more
grew up
letters.
with the Munsters my whole life. Yeah, and they're like, you're gonna have to come give us another $50 at our booth later, idiot. And I was like, cool, you're not cool. And then anytime someone tried to talk to him, they just brushed him off. They wouldn't even look at him. Like the 25 or 35 people that paid way too many dollars to meet the Munsters, they couldn't even just like muster up a little bit of like, hey, yeah, we were in the Munsters. It's kind of rad.
Well, so to my point about the people that would be defending the Munsters movie, the people that were happy to spend $200 or whatever bucks to go meet those guys.
I don't know. It was that much. Was it that much? Should I be more embarrassed about it than I am? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was enough money that I looked at that and I was like, nah, B.
It wasn't
I'm
that
good.
much. But I did not get much out of it because the Munsters were rude. The lithograph's kind of cool, but then the mug they gave you was really cheap, and the name tag was...
You only got a mean mug.
That's true.
Yeah, but anyway, so those people were rushing out to the internet and being like, well, it's just kind of like the original show, which was kind of campy to start with. And I was like, how about just film it in black and white and make it look like the original show? Because the whatever style that Rob Zombie was going for, of course, this is also his first not rated R horror movie that he's ever directed. So maybe we'll all figure out that Rob Zombie's not that great of a director when he's not just copycatting things that he's seen before and wanting to emulate. Looking at you, Halloween, and other movies, and just like throwing his wife in every movie. And I like some of his horror films, but this just is not a fit, man. This is not a fit.
No, it seems really bad, and the story is like, I guess it's how Lily met Herman, and so is there even gonna be an Eddie? Is there going to be a Marilyn, or is it just Grandpa, Lily, and Herman?
Yeah, it seems like it'd be easier for the script. You know, it's just them going on awkward dates in real people world where they're like, oh, look, a Frankenstein, a Dracula lady. That's wacky. They're eating ice cream. And then, you know, Herman's head knocks a door jamb out or something. And it's like, all right, 100 times. And then that's the movie. But it's coming out on Netflix September 22nd.
They didn't give it a date. Last I saw it was aimed for a September-October release.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be this fall.
Rob Zombie said perfect for pumpkin carving weather or something like that.
Which spooky season's getting close.
Yep. But as a huge Monsters fan, I was very, very disappointed, which...
Betrayed.
It's been building up to that with all of his posts so far, and to actually see it clipped together and in motion and everything, it looked pretty awful. But if you still have interest in it, it will be on Netflix in a couple of months.
You can check it out. We'll watch it. You know we will. It's you know, especially for spooky season, we're gonna check it out. So yeah, there's that. Other news. Speaking of things that adult man children will spend too much money on, Hasbro made an announcement this past week. I don't know if you saw this. They're gonna be letting you create your likeness on an action figure. So you can their trial run is going to be Star Wars, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Power Rangers, and Ghostbusters. You can use this app technology to to scan your face and all your personal data so that everywhere you go you can get tracked from now until eternity, and you no longer own your face. I'm sure there'll be some sort of terms and agreement that Hasbro makes you click, but you're like, yay, my face is going to be on a Ghostbuster, zoinks, and then you're going to send it away, and then Hasbro is going to use your face in a deep fake of going like, I approve of these toys, and you're like, wait, I'm in a commercial? What? Where's my money? And then they go, well, sucker, your money's in that $60 Ghostbuster action figure that you scan your face for, idiot. And but it looks like this is already getting a lot of internet press. It looks, I mean, they're keeping the price affordable. $60 is what they're claiming these are going to start as, which is kind of interesting. But they're using like 3D printing technology, obviously, to put your likeness on one of several different characters. You can be Iron Man, you can be Spider-Man, you can be a Mandalorian, you can be a Stormtrooper, a Ghostbuster, the Red Ranger, whatever. You can be any of those things for $60 and giving away your face for it forever. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Because at first when I saw this, I was like, oh, dude, we should get little, you and me action figures and put them up here on the set. But then I was like, I don't know if I want Hasbro in my face.
Are they able to make, long hair and stuff
Probably.
like that?
Well, I don't know. They've got there are female examples on the deal that have, like, the Pink Ranger character has long hair, and there is a female rookie Ghostbuster, and there is a Black Widow, and all of those have long hair. So maybe
So does the Spoderman.
Yes, the Spoderman does also have long hair. So you can check it out.
You know what else? Toy was announced. Something where it doesn't have your face, but might be just as much, if not more fun. They announced that available tomorrow at San Diego Comic-Con, and then later in the week at MattelCreations.com, you can get the T-Rex eating the lawyer on the toilet from the first Jurassic Park action figure set.
Finally, the people have spoken, and we have gotten our wish. A toy of the lawyer getting eaten on the toilet. If that doesn't just complete your display at home, I don't know what will.
It's like one of the most memorable scenes from the movie. And you can get the T-Rex out and you can do that thing it does, like it's like a puppy or whatever. It's like, oh, yeah, and then just eats him.
It just proves that anything and everything that can be marketed as a toy will be. If they can sell it to you, they're gonna. Well,
more toy opportunities coming in here. Apparently, Paul White, a.k.a. The Big Show, or the Giant, depending on which era of wrestling you've paid attention to, is trying to obtain the rights to Captain Insano, his character from The Waterboy, so that he can portray Captain Insano
In
on
real life?
AEW in real wrestling. And AEW, of course, has lots of action figures out there, so you could get his movie character as an action figure through AEW that he's going to actually wrestle as, potentially. So how about that?
I mean, it's just showing
As
you
long as he has,
the power of fantasy manifesting into reality. Yeah, it's a powerful thing, man. I know I've referenced this book a lot on the show because it's just so relevant to conversations like this, but the guy that wrote the Brave Little Toaster, not exactly the most PC of human beings, which is hilarious because he got famous for the Brave Little Toaster, but he wrote a book called The Dreams Our Stuff is Made Of, and it's just about how science fiction affects science fact and things like that. And it's like, well, if a bunch of us think it's cool enough, somebody's going to turn it into real, But yeah, wrestling. Isn't there a lot of problems happening in wrestling?
I don't know.
I thought I heard
the Vince
somebody.
McMahon stuff?
Yeah, Vince McMahon.
I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to wrestling. I've had too much going on in life. But you know what? They also have announced another toy opportunity thing. I don't know how the first run went, but Dune 2 has begun filming.
It's about time.
Yeah. Dune second half has begun filming, which is still wild to me because I thought in all the things we had read, and initially it was that it was all being filmed at one time and they were releasing it just half at a time. But they stopped and they're filming it again, but more toys, more whatever, more waiting. That's the part that's not fun. So we'll see where that goes. And then things that have finished filming, they wrapped on the Blue Beetle movie. Probably plenty of toys to come from that.
A lot of toys to come to that. And I don't know how I feel about it. I like the Blue Beetle.
I don't like that they're starting with Jaime Reyes, because when you start with Jaime Reyes, you don't get to have the history of Blue
the
Beetle.
Character of the yes.
Yeah.
And I understand why they're starting with Jaime Reyes. Because there's boxes to be checked.
Yeah.
And that's how corporations think. They don't think about stories to be told. They think about boxes to check and money to make. And and that's a tragic thing, because when you could be, and we talk about this a lot, like being inclusive is important, but using inclusion to make more money is worse. Like, there's something so just soullessly rotten about just doing it because it's going to make money. And some of these companies are doing it, but also in Young Justice, I believe they took that storyline as well with Blue Beetle. It's been a while since I watched Young Justice.
Yeah, but they talk about like original Blue Beetle and stuff like that.
Well, there was a couple of episodes where it was the previous Blue Beetle leading into what happened to him and how Reyes took over.
They got the Cord Industries and all that stuff set up. But how are you supposed to get your Blue Beetle Booster Gold team up if you just go straight to Jaime Reyes?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. That's really it. Peter Dinklage is going to be in a Hunger Games prequel. That was a thing, I guess.
Hunger Games prequel?
Yeah. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
More cash grabs, because we can't think of anything new. And the crazy thing is there's so many good teen novels out there that you could choose from. There's a dime a dozen that basically follow the same premise.
There's so many. I don't know how many of them could be good.
Just make
Thanks, Velvet Santa.
a different one.
I still want, since The Rock is Black Adam, I want Stone Cold Steve Austin to be Lobo.
He's not big enough.
What do you mean he's not big enough?
I mean, I just don't picture Steve Austin as Lobo.
Well, I'm saying put a wig on him and everything and have him hop off the bike and flip everyone off. And he goes, "Oh, hell yeah." And then he just starts being the Texas rattlesnake, but from space. He could be Lobo.
I don't know if would be my first casting choice, though. I mean, he does have the oh hell yeah down.
They already got Jason Momoa as Aquaman. He would have been a good Lobo.
He would have been a really good Lobo. He would have been a better Lobo than Aquaman.
That's true.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Lobo is a tough one. And I'm really surprised we haven't seen a Lobo movie yet, just because of the nature of that character.
Yeah,
and
after Deadpool was a success, DC should have been like, "Hey, we got you."
We got one. Here it
Lobo.
is. Somewhat immortal, wisecracking bounty hunter man that runs around space being a badass.
Yeah, but maybe that's why they didn't do it, because they're like, "Oh, you got a guy that can't die? Well, we got a guy that can't die. You got a guy that says crazy things? We got a guy that says crazy things."
Would have been cool.
Yeah.
You got a guy that has corpse paint? No, you don't. We do. But anyway, other movies getting greenlit. This is not necessarily a theatrical movie, but just in getting close to spooky season, Netflix has greenlit more Fear Street movies. Which, if you guys last year, they kind of took the fall by storm. There was for 3 weeks we got treated to one Fear Street episode per week. I mean, there were feature-length films, and there were it was a trilogy. Which was pretty cool, of course, from, the same, it was a novel by Stephen, it was like a Stephen King kid series books, R.L. Stein, R.L. Stein, he's the Stephen King of kids.
Goosebumps.
And so this was like his teenage series. So Goosebumps was like for the kids. And then Fear Street was like, well, these kids are in high school now and I got to still sell them stuff. So they were a little bit more adult.
Was it Goosebumps with naked people or something?
Well, they were all R-rated. And this is something that, which was pretty interesting because R.L. Stein, he, in an interview, was really surprised because he's never really done R-rated stuff before. I mean, his books are like, well, somebody gets dead. And this is these movies were like guts like falling out, like the chick that gets like bread slicered. Oh God, that was such a good scene. She gets run through like the bakery bread slicer and she comes out and like, Play-Doh noodles. She says, and it's so good. Such a good scene. And R.L. Stein was like, man, I'd never really done anything R-rated before. And he was like, holy crap, I just helped produce a slasher movie, and they're gonna do some more Fear Street projects, and I'm okay with this because I thought those 3 were actually pretty good. I think the third one dragged a little bit, but the first 2, the middle one was actually really, really good. So Fear Street, more of those coming to you. Probably not this year. It's a little bit late in the game. We're in this drought of movies and media that's about to happen, and because we're starting to run out of our stockpile of the things that we're finishing up in COVID and production hell, and like we're about to hit that period of when production hell happened. People don't really realize how long it takes to make these movies. I mean, we just got Top Gun. We just got Thor, Love and Thunder. And these were movies that were supposed to be out a long time ago. And, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Hollywood plays catch up. I know that they're just going like gangbusters filming things now. But this rest of the summer is going to be pretty dry. So buckle up. Speaking of pretty dry, there's not much coming out this weekend. There is one other thing in the news segment I wanted to say is Beavis and Butthead are getting a series, another new series. Paramount.
Now, last time they tried this, they only gave us like 4 or 5 episodes and then quit.
Well, here's the deal. Paramount, apparently, the Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe was slightly more successful than Paramount had anticipated, and they are re-releasing, I think, seasons 4 through 11 is currently on Paramount Plus streaming with the music videos. So the actual full episodes of Beavis and Butthead are now there, which almost makes me want to get Paramount Plus just to watch these. But they did release a trailer just the other day about the new series coming out, and I'm sure it's just going to it's probably going to be a maybe a 9 or 10 episode short series one just to test the waters. But it's Beavis and Butthead, man, and there is a place. People think that style of humor is not going or is like, oh, that's dumb. But you look at so many shows that are popular today, it's just different versions of Beavis and Butthead. It's just poops and farts and, wieners and butts and sex jokes. And instead of trying to sugarcoat it, Beavis and Butthead just go full on. You said full on.
Yeah.
Can
Beavis and Butthead's good, man.
Who's your favorite, Beavis or Butthead?
I don't know if you can have a favorite between them. I mean, they're both just kind of dumb idiots that are worthless people, and that's kind of the point of it, is that they're...
I'm a Team Beavis guy.
Slackers. Yeah, I guess Beavis. I mean, he's Cornholio.
He is Cornholio. And I love those Beavis moments where Beavis... as Vince says, Beavis is the thinking man's choice. Because Beavis has those moments where he's like, about that, I was thinking, maybe, and he just...
That's true. And then he gets smacked. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like he tries so hard to maybe come out of this chrysalis of dumbassery, and then Butthead is like, shut up, fartknocker, and like smacks him, and it's pretty good. But anyway, that's on the horizon. We can look forward to that. Okay, well, news is out of the way. Let's talk about movies that are coming out this weekend. Again, not a lot of them. We'll talk about the tiny ones that probably aren't coming to a theater near you, getting small releases. We've got a rated R film called Alone Together. It's written and directed and starring Katie Holmes. Remember her? And it's about two strangers embroidered in a bad relationship, and they both wind up in the same upstate New York Airbnb. And a lot of Airbnb dramas coming out right now, mainly because probably a lot of this stuff was filmed in weird places over the pandemic, and they needed to be in isolated areas, especially when it's in New York. But and there's that horror movie coming out about Airbnb. What is it called? Barbarian. That's coming out because Airbnb is the new weird thing of our world. So that movie's coming out. You can check it out probably nowhere until it hits streaming. Also, another sort of direct to either indie cinemas or eventually VOD called How to Please a Woman. And it is from director-writer Renee Webster. Again, it's about her all-male house cleaning business gets out of control. A mature woman must embrace her own sexuality if she is to make a new life for herself. Wow. And... yep, there's that. And we also have, this actually does look interesting. This one is from director Jonah McLeod. It is a documentary starring Alan Cumming. And it's an interesting documentary. It's about this case in 1993, a 16-year-old boy named Brandon Lee enrolled in this academy, a secondary school in a really well-to-do suburb in Scotland. And he apparently was this big con artist. And they go through telling the story of what happened over the course of these 2 years. And the guy, Brandon Lee, refuses to be on camera. I guess whatever happened was so just crazy that he recorded all of his interviews, but Alan Cumming is acting and being lip-synced by the voice of Brandon Lee. Kind of interesting concept, which I thought was...
I hope this dude has like a real, like, strong, deep voice or something, and then you see Alan Cumming. With like a Sam Elliott voice.
It's just very Scottish.
Like a Scottish Sam Elliott voice.
Yeah. Oi! Well, what would be a Sam Elliott Scottish? Can we? I gotta find my Sam Elliott. I gotta find the mesa and look for the tumbleweeds, and then you gotta. How do you Scottish that?
Say laddie. Or lass.
Gonna grab a pint, lass. I can't. You can't. That's a hard blend.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to go home and work on that.
Someone does it somewhere.
Someone will do it before me and get famous off of my idea. But anyway, the big movie that's coming out in theaters nationwide this weekend is the new film from Jordan Peele, which we've all seen too many trailers for, many of which have spoiled the movie and made me not want to see it as much as I did previously. The new film, Nope.
Yeah, the newest trailers definitely give too much away.
Well, the original trailers I found very engaging. Like a lot of, Jordan Peele's previous films, the trailer for Us and Get Out, those were left something of like, what's happening here? What are we going to uncover as an audience, and how can we experience this strange weirdness with the characters? Because that's what makes a really good horror movie or a science fiction movie, is you're taking that air of discovery of a journey with your viewer, with the audience, with the main character, all in it together. And that's what I thought this movie was going to be. And then in the trailer, it's just like, here's a big dumbass 1950s flying saucer, and it's sucking up horses, and now we understand what the fuck the whole thing's about.
Is that they're trying to get money by capturing aliens on film because their ranch is broke.
And this cloud is sitting there that's actually a spaceship, because you see it in the trailer. And I'm not happy about this trailer, guys. I'm okay with a silly MacGuffin that is.
Knox points out the first mistake is watching trailers. We have to.
Yeah, I mean, how else are we going to tell you what's coming out? And it's just...
Also, when you get to the movie, what are you supposed to do? Like...
Yeah, hear no evil, see no evil. I guess you can... It's not so bad to speak evil, because you got to put popcorn in your evil hole. But, it's a little bit of a bummer, because the whole marketing of this movie has completely shifted over the past 2 months. And I don't know. I'm still going to see it. I like Jordan Peele. I think he does good stuff. Everybody keeps thinking that, he's like, oh, man, he's just the most amazing director on the planet, dude. And I'm like, well, they can't all be winners. Get Out was good. Us was good. Still got a lot of, there's a lot of stuff that he could be responsible for that's not good. You can't put somebody on a pedestal that hard. Look at what happened to Shyamalan. They can all fall from grace. So hopefully Nope is not one of those things. I'm excited about it. Good cast. I think we were talking about the new trailer that has Michael Wincott in it. And he's I bet he could do the Sam Elliott Scottish voice. Michael Wincott, he's a guy that always talks like this, like he just gargled a whole glass full of broken glass and pebbles. Like he's just, I don't know how he still has a larynx in his throat. Like it's just the most gruff of humans. And I kind of want to just go see it just to hear him talk, because it's he always plays a bad guy. It's like that's how he talks. Remember, he was the guy in The Crow. It was like cooking the eyeball in the weird skillet with the like Asian lady, and she's like, maybe if you eat this and we do cocaine and have sex, we'll get Brandon Lee to come. And it was. Have you ever seen The Crow? It's awesome.
Yeah, only like twice, man.
You just stop whatever you're about to say after that, because it's going to be wrong.
We've talked about it.
Yes, we have talked about how great that movie is.
No, it's just not a movie for me.
There you go. Nice PC, not confrontational. Like, that's just not for me.
I mean, yeah, why watch it when you can watch Death Wish instead? Charles Bronson, bro.
Are you talking about? I was gonna say, are you talking about the Charles Bronson one or the one with Bruce Willis?
No, the Charles Bronson one where someone watched it and they're like, yes. Now, what if he was like a dead guy instead? Goff. And they're like, yeah, I like that.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool. It was so 90s. Ugh. It's so good. But anyway, Get Out, director Jordan Peele with his new movie, Nope. Hitting theaters this weekend. We will be talking about that, or I will be talking about that this week. Are you going to go see it? You're not going to go see it?
No, I don't want to watch that.
It's not scary, though.
Yeah.
Are you just afraid it might be a little scary?
No.
Yes, I can feel it in your voice. You're just like,
no, I'm not worried about that.
Uh-huh. You're afraid you might get a little spooked?
No, it just looks dumb.
Well, see, that's what scared people say. They're like, I ain't going into that haunted house, dude. It looks dumb. It's probably dumb, you know? And you're like, I'll give you $50 to go in there. Pff, I mean, I don't even need $50. $50 is dumb, too. Like, I mean, I'd go in there, but, you know, I got to go do this other really cool thing that's probably scarier than that anyway, dude.
Maybe I do. Maybe I have haunted houses to go into or whatever, you know? Turns out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jake is too afraid to see Nope with me this week.
No.
Yeah, Vince says Jake sounds like me when people want to get on a roller coaster.
Yeah. Roller coasters are dumb, too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I could, but I got like this bruise on my shoulder.
Do you remember how much convincing it took for you to get me on a roller coaster last time we were at a theme park?
And I hate roller coasters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're here, dog.
That's because I had a traumatizing experience on the Texas Giant at Six Flags. And
what happened?
The thing was too tight, and I was a little kid, and I couldn't breathe, and the whole time I couldn't breathe, and it was pressed on my ribs, and I was in pain, and I couldn't breathe, and as soon as we got to the end of the ride, they undid it, and I was like, and I was like, I'm never doing roller coasters again. But used to, I was crazy about them.
Didn't sound like there was much of a used to be because you were a kid.
Yeah.
I had a traumatic experience on a roller coaster. I grew up not liking roller coasters either, and I had this traumatic clairvoyance moment where I was like screaming. I was like, "It's gonna break! We're gonna die! I don't want to get on this roller coaster." It was the Runaway Mine Car in Disney World, and I was just like, no, and I'm crying. I'm like, no, my grandmother's calling me a pussy and like all this kind of stuff. And she's like, nah, we're going. And I was like, no, we're gonna die. And she's like, no, they wouldn't let people on this if it would break. And I was like, I know it, I feel it, it's gonna break, and we're gonna die. And then we get on the train. We're going to, you know, there's like the Runaway Mine Car, you know, with Disney coasters, you go through like a series of like, well, look, here's a spooky cave, and get you in the mind of going on this roller coaster and immersion in the coaster. And then of course you go around the corner, it's like click, 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 going up like the super, you know, you're about to do the drop, and it's like click, 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 we're almost there, click, 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 click. And it shuts down, and we're stuck. We're trapped at the top of this peak. And I just looked at my grandmother like, I told you. And I'm just like a baby child. And it was the other people on the thing were like, oh my God, this kid was right, because they heard me screaming this whole time too. And
it's like Final Destination. Everyone's like, get off the coaster.
Yeah, and so we had to be evacuated from like the steepest part of the drop of this coaster. And you know, they you know, Disney Imagineers or whatever the fuck they are called, they came up there and, you know, got us out of the deal and walked us down the super death narrow steps off of
with the handrail. That's like,
yeah, and so yeah, I was traumatized for a while from roller coasters, but I have since defeated that fear.
Yeah, but then try being my size, and every time you go on something like Fire in the Hole, your head gets shaved by the roof because you're just too tall. And then you read those stories about like people having their heads and legs ripped off, or someone had their head ripped off and someone with their leg dangling kicked that person's head and it broke their leg because they were moving so fast, and they just like karate kicked this dude's head on accident like they were Pele, and everyone's like, this is awful.
Yikes.
Yeah, forget that.
Well, things are safer now.
I'll stick with the Disney ride at Disney World where it's like ride the movies, and it's like at the Chinese theater.
You're just in a projector screen.
Yeah, well, you're in like the little coaster that moves like 2 miles an hour, and it has Ripley, and she's like, let's get these aliens. And then one comes and it's like, and breathes on your face. You're like, oh, this is so much fun.
And it's a little water squirts out. Mm-hmm. It's like, immersion.
Yeah. That's a good time.
I don't know if they still have that though.
Oh, bummer.
Vince said over on Twitch, he did that once on a plane. And this couple said, maybe the kid knows something, and then started to freak out. I mean, yeah, you know, clairvoyance is a thing. There's Twilight's. You could have looked out the window and be like, there's a gremlin on the wing.
Yeah, or just like calmly turn to your parent and be like, we should get off the plane, Mommy. And then like turn back. That would be fun. You'd probably get in a lot of trouble now, actually. You'd probably have like...
Yeah, you'd be,
air marshal, just like...
Some sort of inciting a riot or terrorism, or who knows. Nobody has a sense of humor anymore when it comes to creating a public panic. Come on, jokes. Anyway, so all right, well that is what's coming out in theaters this week. I don't know how we got so sidetracked, but let's talk about The Sea Beast, because that's a movie that I watched this weekend, and we only have about 20 minutes left of the show, so I'm gonna go through this one. This movie just came out very recently, July 8th. It's on Netflix, so it's only about 10 days old. This movie is animated. It's, I thought it was going to be from the same studio that brought us How to Train Your Dragon, because this movie is How to Train Your Sea Monster, except it's not. It's from director Chris Williams. Chris Williams, of course, a very successful animator with Walt Disney Animation Studios, but he left them in 2018, has been with Netflix ever since. This guy brought us, he was a story artist as early as Mulan, and he directed Big Hero 6, and he's worked on a whole lot of different things. But this,
I think whenever he walks into the room, he goes, "Now, everyone, I know you're probably familiar with me, but let's get down to business." And everyone's like,
hey. But he was also the co-director and writer of Moana as well, so that kind of put him on the map. But with The Sea Beast, he comes in as director, writer, and producer, and this is for Netflix, an exclusive. And this film, kind of takes one part of that. I can't remember what studio did it. I don't think it was Leica, but it was that. It was like a stop motion animation movie called Pirates. I really liked it because I didn't bring any notes. I don't have the director's name off the top of my head, but it's good. It was like one part that meets one part How to Train Your Dragon, and the sum of those two parts, honestly, isn't bad. This movie was a little bit more intense than I thought it was going to be. It is still rated PG. It is definitely fun for the whole family. But there is pirates drinking booze and getting drunk and people getting killed. And, I like seeing that in PG movies because I feel like children need to understand that there is consequence in the world, and something that Miyazaki taught us all through his masterworks with, Studio Ghibli is, when kids understand consequence, they learn the lessons, and they learn, movies can be educational and they can be transformative and magical. I wouldn't say that this movie is any of those things, but it is really good, and there are moments in this film that are heartwarming, but also, a little bit string pulling, where, you see consequence based on the decisions that some of these characters make. And it's got a great voice cast, where a good voice cast where you're not necessarily going voiced by famous people playing famous versions of animated things that kind of look like these people that you already know. I mean, you had Carl Urban playing the kind of the co-lead. You had Jared Harris, wow, as Captain Crow. I would have never picked him out of a lineup, but did just an amazing job. And a kind of an up-and-comer, Zaris Angel Hater, playing the voice of Maisie, the other co-lead. She's a very young actress, and just doing a really, really great job. Creating these characters and casting people that can voice these characters and telling a fun story. Now, I will say the story very, very much follows How to Train Your Dragon. It's like there's a group of people that go out and hunt sea monsters because they can't have them and they're bad.
Instead of super Scottish, Gerard Butler and Craig Ferguson in How to Train Your Dragon, they just have super Kiwi like Carl Urban and stuff like that instead.
Yes, doing pirate voices and
Kiwi pirate,
and just being like, "Arr, ye shouldn't have cut ye lines," and the writing's actually pretty good, and I'm sucker for a good pirate shanty. It reminded me of when we were playing Sea of Thieves really hard last summer. And it's just a fun movie. But anyway, the plot is they're hunting sea monsters, and these two people kind of get stranded on an island. They're all hunting this one, like the Red Banger or whatever his name was. He had a weird name. And
the Red Banger.
The Red Banger. It was something. Oh, Red Buster. That's what it was. I was close. And of course, this little girl, falls overboard. She's a stowaway, blah, 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 tale as old as time. And then she's like, well, maybe we shouldn't hurt these animals because they're not so bad.
Tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme, the girl that fell overboard. Is that what you're saying?
Little stowaway girl. But yeah, she's just like, well, I'll be friends with the animals. And the other guy's like, no, they're monsters. And they're like, I don't trust them, but I'm big and gruff, and I'll slowly warm up like your stepdad who doesn't want that cat. And then there's like this like sort of familial group of two outcasts and this sea monster, and now we got to prove to the world that sea monsters aren't bad and they're just misunderstood. And it kind of works. It was a silly little watch, and maybe it's just because I like pirate stuff and boats and the ocean. I actually hate the ocean. I love the ocean. I love looking at the ocean, but I hate sand. So it's just kind of like a curse.
Yeah, but Anakin Skywalker over here.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the water, no matter what, will find a way to hit you in the face.
Always.
No matter what.
Yeah, and the salt.
Mm-hmm.
But
last time I was at the ocean, all my friends wanted to go out in the water where it was too far away, and I was like, "Dude, there's sharks." And they're like, "There's no sharks. My feet can touch." And I was like, "Ain't you ever seen Shark Week?"
Yeah.
And then my
Tiger
fiance and I
sharks, bro.
walked up to the dock, and we were on the dock there, and there was these dudes who had like an 8-foot shark that they had reeled in on the dock, and I was like, "Yup, forget the ocean."
Yeah, the ocean's crazy, man. It'll get really, really weird. Al says, Mad God's another cool recent animated movie on the streaming service Shudder. Yes, I've been bookmarking that one. That movie I've been waiting for years. It's been in production for almost 20 years. And I'm watching it tomorrow. I've actually I've cut out a time. Got a friend coming over. We're gonna watch Mad God. I'm excited about it. Some of my friends at work, I've recommended it to them. They've already watched it, and they're like, "Oh, it's so good." So I'll be talking about that in a future episode. Actually, crap! I just realized I'm not going to be here next week.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to be. Are you going to come up here? Do you know how to? Can you find somebody to operate all these buttons? And you just get the Jake Solo show.
Write me out a step-by-step thing. Vince pointed out that I still need to watch Downton Abbey, so maybe since there's no movies, I'll just get started on Downton Abbey finally.
But maybe we might have to move the show to another day this week. I don't know, but I'm gonna be. I've got a cocktail conference. I'm going down to New Orleans next week for Tales of the Cocktail. So any of you viewers out there that are in New Orleans, let me know in the Discord, which I can throw another link to our Discord, which we have now, a boom in the chat. And I'll be down in New Orleans for that week, actually. I'll be getting there Monday, and we'll be heading out Saturday morning. So a lot of cocktail learning and a lot of networking and fun times.
You're going to be walking around downtown with the hurricane?
I'm going to be like standing outside Anne Rice's house being like, why did you never make any better movies? And just getting real sad about, no good sequels to Interview with a Vampire.
I was about to say, you can walk around and see all the spots from that movie.
That's right. Yeah, all the statues that'll look at me at night because...
Yeah, you can be like, there's where Tom Cruise did that thing. There's where Brad Pitt did that thing.
That's where he ate that rat. Yeah. And that's where he got afraid of sunlight. And anyway, so yeah, I won't be here next week, but we'll figure something out, and definitely gonna be watching Mad God tomorrow. But before we wrap the show up, we gotta tell you what happened at the box office. It's box office roundup time. I wish we had like a fun, like giddy up rodeo noise.
We also both watched What We Do in the Shadows. It's just the first 2 episodes of the new season. They're set up. Nothing's really happened yet, but the gang gets back together in the first episode. They kind of just throw them back together. You see it takes place a year after the end of the last season, and you have weird baby Colin Robinson. So there you go. There's not much to talk about, really.
Not much going on in the first 2 episodes, but we'll cover it more. But yes, okay, time for the box office roundup. What we do each week is we give you the top 10 movies in America, how they've been performing, because green lights and sequels are always based on box office numbers. And if you're dirty douchebags like the Russo brothers that think that theatrical releases aren't important anymore just because you're speaking from your ivory tower of privilege to get to do Marvel movies and own every streaming services like blank checks. Eat a dick, Russo's. Number 10. We start with number 10 and we work our way to number 1 and tell you what it made. These are domestic numbers only. Take it away, Jay.
All right, number 10, dropping to number 10 from 7, big drop. $1.4 million this week, Lightyear. That brings Lightyear's total to $115.6 million. Probably not what Disney was wanting to see from it in its 5th week. So don't expect any more Buzz Lightyear stuff anytime soon from Disney unless they're trying to do a salvage job. But good luck there. Opening at number 9, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Just shy of a $2 million take. So that's going to be its full box office. It's not bad for
under 1,000.
Yeah, it's in under 1,000 theaters. Average intake was 2,000 a screen. So, for something I've never heard of, not so bad. Number 8, also dropping 3 spots. Jurassic World Dominion.
It doesn't necessarily have much of a dominion, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it did bring in $5.1 million. Still in 2,600 theaters in its 6th week, bringing its total up to $360 million. So not bad. It's made some money. I think I read that it was the 2nd highest grossing movie of the year so far or something like that. So, it's still out there, but whatever. 7, dropping 1 spot, The Black Phone. It brought in a little bit more than Jurassic World at $5.3 million.
And for a relatively small budget horror movie, come on, man. I mean, making the money.
Not bad. It's only been out 4 weeks, bringing in a total of $72 million. Probably made money, being a horror movie. $72 million is not bad for most horror films.
It's pretty dang good, actually.
Opening at number 6, Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank.
Yep, not enough to dethrone the Minions. I mean, this Paramount putting this out, it's CGI animals doing people things, looking like Kung Fu Panda.
Nickelodeon one?
Yep.
The samurai thing?
Yep.
With all of the famous people?
Yep.
Well, it only brought in $6.3 million in its opening week.
Number 6 opening, that's not good.
Yeah, so.
Is this not going to go higher?
Well, I mean, you don't know. Some of those kids' movies. We'll see.
I mean, if Top Gun leaves theaters this week, which I don't think it's gonna, just because, you've got movies that'll stick around for 10 and 11 weeks. I think Top Gun's gonna stay for probably 11 weeks.
Yeah, but the kids' movies have a tendency to fluctuate. We've seen them climb before. But next week it has to compete with the DC Heroes Pets film.
Yes, that's right. Not this weekend, but the next weekend.
Yeah, next week. So, and that has Keanu Reeves as Superman and Dwayne Johnson as Crypto, the Super Dog. You have Ace, the Bat Hound, and all sorts of stuff in there. Could be a fun movie. Number 5, dropping 1 spot, Elvis. It brought in $8 million this week. Still in 3,300 theaters in its 4th week of release. $106.6 million taken in for that. I don't know what their budget was there, but I've not heard anything bad about it.
No, it's good.
So far, nothing but positive reviews.
Yeah, if you want to go back a couple episodes, I talk about it.
Yeah. Without knowing the budget, I don't know if they're happy about it or not. But for a biopic like that was delayed and had its problems.
Had a lot of problems. If you read
sure
interviews with Baz Luhrmann, he wanted to walk away from the project a handful of times, but ended up coming back.
And it'll probably have success on TV and streaming and stuff.
Once it
gets
streaming,
more people, especially like older people who are like, Elvis, yeah, hell yeah, I'm
okay with his problematic fame.
Yeah. Coming in at number 4, also dropping a single spot, Top Gun Maverick, still bringing in over $12 million.
8th week. Whoa.
8th week out. It's $618 million just in the U.S. Absolutely killing it. It's a good-ass movie. I liked it. I thought it was cool. You should watch it. Opening at number 3, Where Them Crawdads Sang. Bringing in just over $17 million. It's in only 3,600 theaters, so not
a full wide.
Yeah, about 1,000 theaters short.
Honestly, more theaters than I was expecting this movie to be in. So, yeah.
So, yeah, there it is. Just opened up over $17 million. Number 2, hanging in the number 2 spot, Minions: Rise of Gru, brought in almost $27 million.
It's a bunch of money.
It's a lot of money, despite the fact that it's being removed from theaters and
It's
people
getting banned. And
people aren't allowed to wear their
I think the
gentleman
fact
suits.
that it's become so controversial is why it's still getting a lot of staying power. So
Well, in its third week, only its third week for a kids movie, $263 million.
yeah, it's you guys, it's making so much. We're going to see Minions movies until we're dead. Like, they will be making Minions movies for the end of time. I mean, with the way that this one's making money, it's crazy.
Well, you know what? Talking about that, just before we get to the number 1, it was in the news too. Sylvester Stallone commented on one of the producers of the Rocky films book that came out. It's like a 93-year-old man, and he talks about how he's a successful person and all of his success and things like that. And Stallone's like, yeah, from me. And they denied Stallone ownership of anything Rocky, so he's never credited as a producer. They won't allow him to be a producer. They've allowed him on Creed, but not on any of the Rockies. So he owns no part of Rocky, even though he was the writer, screenwriter, director, or he directed some of them, and actor. Like, he did everything himself. And they're like, no ownership for you. And he's like, hey, screw this, dude.
Hey, screw this.
But what he was saying is, without those producers in his way, they would have made at least 2 other Rocky movies after 5 prior to Balboa and the Creed movies.
I don't know if that's necessary, but
Well, I mean, they would have. Maybe they would have skipped 5, and they would have all stayed good.
had been a spinoff about the robot.
Yeah, that's what we really want. And Polly, just the Polly show. But number 1 movie, hanging in at number 1 in its second week, Thor: Love and Thunder brought in $46.6 million this week, bringing its full total to $233.9. Now, that's a big number, but Disney's not happy about it.
Not happy at all. They're mad at you. They're mainly mad at you, audience. They're so unhappy that you didn't just empty your wallets for weeks after weeks of giving them $1 billion instantly, because this movie dropped 67%.
Nearly 70% drop on that film
from its opening week. And Disney's not used to that. Disney doesn't like it when you don't give them all your money. And so they're like, well, if we're not going to make $1 billion every 5 seconds, then was it even worth our time? And
I mean, you put it in comparison, Top Gun, that's been out for 8 weeks, within this last week only had a 21% drop. So people are still like, yeah, I'll go watch Top Gun. Or people are like, I'll watch Top Gun again, something. But Thor: Love and Thunder, everyone's like, I read about it. I don't think so.
Well, and Velvet Santa over on Twitch says, I'll just wait to watch it on my cousin's Disney Plus account. And I think that, and mark my words here, because I haven't been wrong yet about anything to do with how streaming has evolved and how, not owning our content has affected the way we view content. Companies like Disney, like, once they get us on the Disney Plus thing, and then the more they try to sell us with comments like the Russo brothers had about, like, who needs theaters anymore? And they start buying you into this idea of convenience. That's when they're going to turn the tables on you and go, well, now we own not only the means of production, but the way you view it, and when and how and through our terms, this content. So if you really want to see Thor: Love and Thunder, well, then you're going to have a Disney Plus subscription, and you're going to have to pay a premium fee, and you're going to have to see it when and when we want, and then we might just take it off whenever we feel like it, and then we're going to bring it back from the Disney vault, make you pay for it all over again. And because Disney doesn't get all that money. Some of it goes to theaters. I mean, they get the lion's share for sure, but if they can just shove it out to a streaming service and cut their losses and get all of that revenue from membership subscribing fees, then they're going to try and cut the theaters out. Because Disney, a lot of people don't realize is Disney and Amazon and Netflix, once upon a time, were trying to open up their own theaters just so they could have exclusive theatrical rights to the movies they made. And that's where a lot of these big, back in the 1930s and 40s when movie theaters were opening up big, that's how it worked. Like Warner Brothers, you'd go to a Warner Brothers theater or an MGM theater to see MGM movies, and there was a big famous law ruling that was like, hey, you can't do that. That's gonna cause some problems down the road. And then they made sure they couldn't do that. But now in the world of the internet, these companies are trying to recreate that problem that was so beneficial from them, but actually ended up screwing all of us without us knowing it. They're trying to recreate that online, and it's dangerous. And it may seem convenient now, but that's how they get you.
Talking about dangerous online, it was in the news today, not movie related, but possibly could be. Net neutrality is on the table for going through government stuff. Again, pay attention to that because you want to pay attention to that.
It's important stuff. So on that note, on important stuff, if you want to keep up with us, check us out on our Discord. It's just the drive-in speaker box. Link is there in the chat. I might link it on our YouTube and whatever once I kind of start doing that more. And forgive me if it's not an instant chat. I got to get Jake. I got to talk him into downloading it. And
yeah, I've tried Discord before, and I don't. But
you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, he's gonna, so he can talk.
It's like PC gamers are like they're like the whole breed of
Everybody does Discord now, not just gamers. There's all sorts of people that do it. And other popular podcasts do it, so we need to do it too, damn it.
Okay.
But yeah, it also depends on the server. If it's all just these cool people. It just looks
like a mess that's thrown up there, and I'm like...
It's kind of like our show. Anyway.
Mess that's thrown back there.
But anyway, thanks for tuning in. We're going to scoot. We're going to upload this stuff, and we will see you guys. I'm not sure if we're going to see you next week. If we do, it's not going to be on Monday because I'm going to be on a plane. But if anything, we're going to be talking about Nope pretty soon and other things. Maybe Downton Abbey. Maybe he'll get around to watching it. So as always, I am Bo, the boom operator.
Slick Doggy the grip.
And we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.